All righty. So, good afternoon, global health and safety. So we're talking about the warm up. Now, the biggest thing that I learned going into this, and I learned it from Devlin, is making it fun. The warm up, when you first get to the house, you're doing casual talk with them. You're like just creating that friendship with the person. Because if you the customer is not going to do anything. It's not going to purchase anything if you cannot specifically become friends with them. They need to trust you. They need to like you. Um, so when you're sitting down with your customer, the first thing you need to do is just casual talk about the things that are on the wall, complimenting their house, showing the pictures. One of the first things that I do is I'll pull out my picture book. And that picture book has a list of different things depending on what who you're sitting in front of. If you're sitting in front of like more of the older generation, picture book's great. If you're sitting in some of the younger generations, you can pull up your cell phone and show some of the pictures that are there, or some of the videos that you showing who you are, what you're there for, and creating that friendship. Now that warm up there, just introducing yourself and getting to know them. I always walk into the house and I'm like, huh. I'll start joking with them. Just as I was first meet, it doesn't matter if I first meet you or if I've been friends with you for 20 years, I'm still going to do the exact same thing. So I just essentially just get to know them. After that, start asking the questions. Hey, have you guys ever experienced a fire? Now, depending on what lead that you're there from, whether it's the Survey Monkey, I'll ask them. So you took the Facebook post off of so and so's friend. How do you know them? And I'll get some extra questions about how they know them. And then I'll be like, well, what kind of sparked your interest on the survey lead? I said, was you doing it because you just wanted a free emergency kit, or have you guys ever experienced a fire? And then whatever the response is, I just roll with it. If they talk about a fire, ask them what happened. If they start telling me about a fires and they're going over everything, I will turn around and I'm like, I'm sorry to hear about that. Your emotions drop, your tone starts going down, and you show that sympathy. And then I start talking about grease fires. So if you had a grease fire, how would you put it out? A lot of people tell me not water, or they'll use salt, baking soda. And I'm like, well, if it gets too big, what do you resort to then? So then they start saying a fire extinguisher. And I'm like, great, do you have any? And then if they say yes, it's where's it at? So start you're still warming up with them. I have not pulled anything out of my bag. I've not showed them anything, but I'm just getting them to trust me first. So when they start talking about their fire extinguisher, where are they at? They'll start telling me. Usually underneath the sink is the first place everyone goes to. So I'll be like, cool, go get it. And while they're digging under there, I start looking at my watch and I'm like, well, I don't know. It looks like, oh, your whole kitchen's on fire now. And I make it fun. I don't make it like it's serious. And then when they get it, and I show them some things about the fire extinguishers, ask them how they would check it, when's the last time they checked it, just giving them that little extra with the fire extinguishers. Afterwards, I then reach into my bag and I'll be like, have you ever seen or heard of a kitchen fire blanket? And they either tell me yes, they have, or no, they haven't. If they say yes, I'm like, cool, where did you see that at? And I've found out that a lot of military or people that's been overseas happen to see them. And then I start telling them, well, ours is it's a fiberglass blanket. It's designed to smother the fire. Come on, we're going to actually show you how to put a fire out with one of these. I never ask them. I just come on, guys, let's go. We're gonna go put a fire out, and then they'll be like, "You're gonna start a fire in my kitchen?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've never burnt anyone's house down yet today." And then I'll pause and I'll wait for the joke, or they'll be like, "Today," and ha ha ha, And so then I start to show them. I will literally show them how to do it, but then I turn around and I'll hand the blanket to them. I'm like, "That was pretty easy, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, now you're going to put the actual fire out." So then I'll light the fire, have them put it down. As they're putting it down, I stand with them. I usually have their husband or their wife or significant other taking the picture of the fire blanket while we're doing this. And then as it's out, I proceed to tell them, and this one here is out on a normal grease fire. You're going to want to wait 20 to 30 minutes, just to make sure that the fire is completely out. This is also designed that if, say, you had a small little one, you could essentially wrap them around it just to kind of get them out. So I give them that like extra little bit about it. I'm making them want that fire blanket. So then afterwards, we come back to the table, start talking about burn free, because I'm like, sometimes I'll make the joke. I'll put my hand on the pan on the top of the fiberglass blanket, and I'm like, "Whoo, that's hot, but not that hot." So I'm like, "Well, did you ever burn yourself?" Talk about the burn free. So as I'm showing the burn free, I'm still getting them more excited that they want to burn free. I do the demonstration with the thermometer gauge, show them how good burn free works, and then I start going over the emergency preparedness kit. So with the emergency preparedness kit, pull out the kit, start opening it up, start going over it. A lot of what I would specifically say is, hey, just for allowing us to come out and visit with you guys today, we brought your 180-piece emergency preparedness kit. What's nice about it, as I'm doing it, I'm opening it up and I start telling each one, start describing each of the packets, letting them know that they're water resistant. The packages are, in fact, that there's this, and each of them. And I'll go over it. And then I'll also let them know that there's a QR code. Say you do happen to use your bandages up or your auto. There's a QR code on this, allows you to take you to Rescue First's website where they can reorder the specific pack that you need to put back into your kit. And then as they're like, "Well, that's really cool," I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Do you want to know how you can earn this free little bottle of burn free or whatever it is that you're getting people to help you promote with your leads?" We use the sample bottle of the burn free. What we'll do is, hey, if you just like your friend did, they wanted their own free bottle of burn free, get you to post a picture with the kit, just like you did. You saw the survey link in there, allows your friends and your family members to take the same survey so we can come out and deliver a kit to them. So then I'll get them all set up. I'll have it all laid out in front of them. Take the picture. As you're taking the picture, you're still getting them excited, And then while you were talking about the fire blanket, just usually inform them that there's a way that they can earn the fire blanket free. So usually after they put the fire out, and I'm like, "Yeah, I got a way that you can earn this for free today." And then as you post your picture on Facebook, get the survey, I go back to, "Hey, remember how I said that you could get the fire blanket for free?" And they'll tell me, "Yeah." And I'll be like, so to kind of give you an idea, Facebook grabs everyone from high school to family. But if you could personally reserve kits for your nearest and your dearest, your friends and your family, do you think you can come up with like 10 to 15 people that would want their own kit and see the same information that I've shown you so far? And they always will say, "I can think of." So I'm handing them without letting them say, "Well, I would have to think about it." I start handing this with the pen attached to it. Hand it over to them. And I'm like, "Who's the first person you think of?" And help guide them with that. Who's the second person? You know, is there anyone that experienced a fire that's close to you? And then just letting them, all right, well, if you put their first, last name and phone numbers down, you send them a text message, which I actually have one already pre-scripted up for you, that you just forward that over to those people. I can leave the fire blanket. Now, very rarely does it happen that people can't come up with 10, but for the ones that say, well, I don't know if I know 10 people, or I don't think I can come up with 10 people, I'm like, put down as many as you can think of right now. And then they'll start putting it down. And then I'll turn around and be like, all right, well, if we can't get you to 10, if there's no way of getting you to 10, I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll do you one other favor, is if you could help your friends and your family member help me by setting up an appointment with them before I even leave here, and I can leave the fire blanket that way. So they're getting two different ways that they're not upset that they only got to 7 or they got to 8. You know, it's still giving them that option with making the Insta set. You know, so then get them to send those text messages out. You know, and as they're doing it, you're just sitting there and you're helping them even more. You know, you're just like, hey, do you think of anybody else? Or maybe as we go through the safety meeting, you might start thinking of more people that you'd want to put down on this list. And as I'm going with them, I'm constantly keeping it upbeat, keeping it friendly, keeping it fun. You know, if the kids are involved, you know, I've had a lot that are 8, 9, 10-year-olds that get involved. And I'm like, if it's okay with your mom and your dad, I'll let you put the fire out. And I'll look up at mom and dad and I'll be like, is it okay? You know, I like to make it fun. It's that whole warm up is all about getting to know the people, getting them to build a relationship with them, earning their trust, and just having fun with them. Because I know some of this, whenever we start going through the safety meetings is serious talk, but you can still have your good emotions, your sad emotions, happy, you know, you can still make it fun. But me personally, I feel all the magic happens at the beginning, from the time that you open up that door and introduce yourself with that smile, you know. And everyone's different. And there would be ones that you open up the door and you can automatically feel that maybe the husband didn't know you were coming over. So you have to, I guess, charm them. Getting them, sometimes it takes a little longer to warm up to other people than others. Sometimes you just click, and then there's other times that you're just like, oh, I need to break this, you know. And it goes back to being consistent. You know, it's consistent with everything. That's why we have scripts for everything. I think the warm up is about the only thing that's not 100% scripted, because that relies on you to make it fun, to make it interesting, to build a trust. That takes your personal character to be able to ignite that feeling in each person's house. I've had a lot of people that will specifically ask me to come up with stay with them for dinners, or stay with a beer, or whatever it is. And usually those are the ones that you know that you did very well interacting with at the beginning of it. And then you keep them engaged during the end portion of it. I could say David Carter, I have a lot of it. I would like to, if people got questions, I would love to hear what people have to say. Maybe add some feedback to it, and then I'll also show them my little surprise that you were saying about.
Well, first off, I think you kicked butt on today's call before we get to that next part, because listen, everybody listen. I want everybody to hear one thing real fast. This guy did 314 units in the month of April. He come out of the gates in the month of April as number one in the world. There's a reason why he was number one in the world. He's giving you the keys to it right now. One of the hardest things to teach is a warm up, because what he just said was so brilliant. He said the whole presentation scripted, but this part isn't. You're right. When you said that, I smiled, because it's so true. The warm up is not scripted. It's got to be you. And if you put value on the beginning of the presentation, you will do what the kind of things that Brian's doing, because Brian puts value in building relationships in that first 5 to 10 minutes. He puts a ton of value in that. You ever heard that saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression? You ever heard that before? This is what this warm-up's all about. If you make a good impression in the first 5 or 10 minutes, your closing percentages will go skyrocketing on you. If you make a good impression that first 5 to 10 minutes, your leads will go up higher. Your chances of recruiting them will go higher, because they like you. They're not buying OmniShield, they're buying you. I've never seen anybody buy OmniShield. I've never seen it. If it was that simple, we would just put it online and let everybody buy it offline. That's not how this works. They're buying the person that's in front of them. And the reason, Brian, the reason why you're so good at this business, and the reason why you're going to be a dealer one day, and the reason why you've been a great trainer inside Devlin's office, the reason why you keep kicking butt, man, is because you have mastered what you just trained. You've mastered going in there and warming up with people, man, and we're proud of you for doing that. And another thing that you guys, I don't know if you picked up on it, but he went over his lead process. That was brilliant. That lead process that he went over is brilliant. This call's being recorded to be posted on Global Peak Training. But before we go any further, and he shows you that little surprise that he was chatting about, which I think is absolutely cool. I want to open up chat to anybody. Don Wobble said, I'm ready to buy something from him right now. So am I, Don. I'm ready to buy something too. All right. If you guys have a question for him, please type it in the chat right now. Any questions at all? So he's went over the warm-up with you. The photo album at the beginning, brilliant. Why do you use a photo album, Brian? Give them the why. Why do you do that?
Because, I mean, when you walk into the house, you're seeing their pictures on their walls. You're seeing everything of them, but it gives them the ability to see who you are. You're not just Brian from Pro Fire Safety coming to do a safety meeting. Hey, I'm like your next door neighbor, you know. Oops. Sorry about that for some of them.
Show us the pictures. Put the pictures up to the camera.
So I got pictures of my dogs. So I show pictures of my dog. I have not updated it from Miami Beach, so don't get me on that yet. I got pictures of like my mom and me, you know, just having a blast. My brothers, you know, and I use them depending on like where I'm sitting at. If it is a hunter, you know, I post a picture of my son and his first deer. If it is baseball, my son is a catcher with the greatest smile in the world, you know. He was a little happy little booger there. I got my nieces and my daughter at my wedding. First trip together, you know. You got to add in the Miami trip. So there's a little bit of everything in here. My stud right there, Copper James, you know. And it just, I use this or I use my phone. And my phone has some other pictures that are just randomly pictures that could be funny jokes or something like that. It all depends on who you're sitting in front of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here's the deal about the pictures. I want everybody to listen. So Brian just went over you once again, brilliant. What Brian is covering with you right now is he breaks down that wall that a customer puts up in front of him. All right, so I want you to think about this. I want everybody to write this down. In the first 2, 3, 4 minutes, there is a gigantic wall in front of you between you and that customer. And in order for that wall to come down, they must see you as something other than a salesperson. because let's face it, that's all they're seeing when you're standing in front of them is somebody there to take money from them. Okay. So when someone's looking at you like that, they got a gigantic wall in front of them. Okay. What Brian is doing and what he's completely mastered is he's got a photo album, and I would suggest a photo album, not your phone. You know, get you a photo album and have this stuff nicely printed off and put in some little slide papers like that and just open it up. And then you show them, you say, hey, this is my wife, Christy. Been married to my wife. Listen, this is how you do it. Just like Brian did. This is my wife, Christy. I've been married to Christy for 18 years. We have 3 beautiful children. Here is Brooklyn. Brooklyn's my little baby girl. She's 10. She's always going to be my little girl.
Mine's 14.
All right. See, but when you go through this, they don't look at you as a salesman as much. That wall starts coming down, guys. And when that wall starts coming down, they're liking you. Remember, they're not buying OmniShield, they're buying you. So if you ever have had a problem or struggled selling a product, it's not the product that you're struggling selling. You're struggling selling yourself. All right. And a photo album sells you. That's what it does.
I'd have to have a great big one because mine is, I got 33 grandchildren and 7 great-grandchildren.
Yeah, but see that, you know what that does for you, Joyce, is it lets people love you. They fall in love with you because you're a grandma. They fall in love with you because you're a mom. They fall in love with you because of who you are as a person. But if you don't show that stuff, you can really struggle unless, you know what, and guys, and here's the deal. Even if you don't do the photo album, you're still going to sell some. Okay, but you'll sell more if you do a photo album in the beginning.
Yep. I think this here it's a Walmart photo album. And the pictures in it, I think I have less than $10 invested in something that is going to make you more money.
I also have my Punta Cana pictures on my phone that I show them. Hey, look what my company does for all of their hard workers. And we swam with the dolphins and we snorkeled with the sharks. And we just had an absolute wonderful time when I'm doing the opportunity part of the demo.
Very good. Very good. All right. So Janice put awesome tip. Thanks for sharing. All right. So here's what I want you to do, Brian. I want you to share with them that little idea that you have. I don't know where you got it from, but this app that you got. Everybody write this down. This is awesome. Go for it, Brian.
All right. So I've used this in other like jobs that I've had, tracking mileage. I've been using what's called Mile IQ. And it literally kind of breaks down all your different miles that you've driven. It automatically does based off of the IRS's allowance. Last year alone, I wrote off almost $12,000 in miles. So it automatically, the time that you get in your car and you start moving, it starts registering, and it tracks it as a trip. So once you stop, and you're stopped for, I think this one is for longer than 5-6 minutes, it will actually register it as a trip. And then it has the ability to either swipe to personal or swipe to business. And you can even break it down even further into meetings, customer visits. There's multiple subcategories as well.
All right, very good. And the name of the app, one more time for me, Brian. What is it called?
Mile IQ.
So you go to your app store, type in Mile IQ, download that, and it'll start tracking your miles for you. And man, that's invaluable for you at tax time, guys.
Yeah,
So,
the first 40, I think it's the first 30 or 40 trips are free. You can pay a yearly subscription, I think is $50 or $60.
All right, very good. Very good. All right, Brian, any final things you'd like to say before we wrap the call down with everybody?
The biggest thing I can say is just go out and make friends. Don't make customers, make friends. If you make friends, I mean, let's face it, you go to a friend's house, and you have a beer, you're just going to sit there and you're going to talk about everything, and they're going to like you even more. Do the exact same thing as you would in a house. Absolutely. And I promise you'll go more.
There you go, man. That's awesome, and that's true. So, guys, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go to Facebook, GHS Promotions, and I'm gonna type in "What did you learn from Brian Delaney today on the Global Superstars Training Call?" Please go there and type something for Brian that lets Brian get better. He gets to see what you learned from him. Maybe he didn't. Maybe there's a point that he wants to get across the next time a little harder or something like that. I think you did great today, Brian. If everybody was unmuted, we all clap and yell and holler for you, but everybody's muted. Thank you all for being on the call. Go to GHS Promotions right now. Type what you learned. We'll see you next time on the next call. Have a great day, but guys.